here is calling us forward, upward motion. With drops in one ocean, roll on.
Will you rise up with me today? Lift up your voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to AGNT Speaks. You are here with us today live on our new platform, and we are so grateful to have this new platform. There is so much here for your spiritual nourishment all the time. So we are just grateful to be here. Every week we come to you live on Wednesdays at noon Central for Conscious Conversation. So we're here today with Dr. Reverend Viljoen with us from California. He serves with me on the AGNT Leadership Council. And each week we come for a mindful conversation. So we try to talk about the things that are impacting you, your heart, your world, your life, the issues that we see around the planet today that affect humanity, and how we can apply spiritual principles to that which is within us and that which is all around us. So wherever you are, give us a comment and let us know that you're here enjoying this conscious conversation in this broadcast. We have spiritual seekers from all over. We have spiritual leaders that join us for this Association for Global New Thought conversation. And this is our first time that we are not in the Zoom room, but we are coming to you live on multiple platforms. So you may be watching us and listening in on a variety of platforms. So feel free, please, to interact on your platform and let people know your thoughts, what you're doing, what you think about the conscious conversation today. Add your voice to the spiritual support that is going out from AGNT Speaks today. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It's good to have you here. Let's get this conversation started. So the topic today is something that I think is on everyone's heart. So why don't you go ahead and kick us off, Edward?
Yes, good morning. It's so nice to see you again and be on AGNT. It's been a while, and I'm glad to be back. And what's on my mind, there's a lot on people's minds today, and especially how to match action with spiritual practice in the world with such things as Ukraine at war, especially since it is so far away geographically. There is a tremendous sense of, well, helplessness that people can encounter. I know I felt that. And so what might emerge is, well, is spiritual practice even enough? Is prayer enough? Well, we have in Centers for Spiritual Living, we've got a community in Ukraine, and so it makes it more real. It's immediate. We've got people in Kyiv, and some of these people we know because they've been to my city. So all of a sudden, geography doesn't matter. And now, what do? Well, we have as so many people do, have a prayer practice for peace. Our minister in Switzerland, Reverend Beth Linguri, she's created what she's calling a call for a spiritual chain reaction, to cause a spiritual chain reaction through prayer. And they're meeting just for 10 minutes every day at noon Pacific time. And I went to several of them, I facilitated them, and I'm telling you about it because that's when I saw in the eyes of the people in Ukraine, that's when I saw the effectiveness of prayer, camaraderie, spiritual community. And it reinforced in me that, of course, this is an action that we ought to, can, and should take. So the prayers are given, in English, and then sentence by sentence translated into Russian. They've chosen Russian because more people speak it from the surrounding areas. And when I was talking to our community in Latin America, same thing. I was talking Spanish, English, translated sentence at a time. And I said to them, come to the prayer, because it doesn't matter that it's not being translated. The words don't matter. Because you just have to see the faces of the people on the call to know that something matters. And so we have people from all over the world coming to join together, and it's heartening and encouraging and beautiful and inspiring. And I know you've got a daily prayer too, don't you?
Yeah, so at 12 noon, we just have a call, just a consciousness call. I run something called Campaign for Consciousness, and it's generally a 40-day affirmation campaign, but it's for just highlighting consciousness all of the time. And so through Unity Village Chapel and through Campaign for Consciousness, we've just called on people to join together at noon Central. Or noon, actually, your own time, which is just in line with exactly with what you're doing. So, if you think about that, if everyone does it at noon, there's a rolling prayer all, for those hours. But just to join together, and I have an alarm set on my phone for 11:55 every day. And at 11:55, I go into prayer. I close my eyes. I just imagine holding hands with everyone on the planet that is standing for peace. So just linking one hand to the next and just imagining that ripple effect of everyone holding hands around the planet, holding hands and just squeezing tight, and just knowing that connection is real. So we're praying together, and we didn't even know that, it's amazing. And I think when we really consider the effects, if you look into the work of Larry Dossey and other people that have studied and researched prayer and the effects of prayer, it's consciousness. If you just even think of what do they call it, the butterfly effect, right? How the weather in one place can be impacted by movement in another place. This is real work, and of course we want to do more. And our New Thought teachings don't stop at prayer. Our prayer is a practice of consciousness. It's a practice of energy. It's a practice of centering and alignment. It's a practice of benefit. And it's also a practice where we get guidance on what to do. So it informs our action. It doesn't, we don't just say, oh, I'm praying and that's enough. We keep listening. And from that, we get ideas of what to do and how to deepen. And I think that's one of the beauties of New Thought and prayer and this connection we have. I think it's the least that we can do is to be mindful. I don't think there's anyone that isn't thinking about this daily. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, right? Like the people that I am talking to, this is daily.
Right. And as it becomes more prominent and more complicated, the need for that centering that you talked about increases in me. So I noticed at the end of last year, I think the world seemed to be increasing in complexity from my perspective, and the onslaught of difficult news that I seemed to not be able to do anything about seemed to increase. So I thought to myself, I need to get a little more regimented, if I can say, about my daily prayer. So I started 6 a.m. every morning, Pacific time, I use 365 Science of Mind. It's a book of daily inspiration, very short. And I just invited people to join because I'd noticed that if I don't get on the right track first thing in the morning, then the day takes over before I can even open my eyes. So I've got to situate myself, get my mind in the right place, do the practice, and then take that consciousness with me into the day. And as I started sharing this practice, I found that, well, people are hungry to do that all over the world. So we have people tune in from Kenya, Nairobi, Bhutan, the United Kingdom, Canada, South Africa, Peru, Mexico, Spain, and just for that little 10 minutes, and of course, it's in different time zones. And what I've noticed is that, like you said, there's a body of work by scientists like Larry Dossey, a medical professional. And then there's also the evidence of what it does to you, to me. So I can say there is a marked difference in just adding to my day this 10 minutes in the morning. And so now I'm on the right tracks. I go into the day and I'm responding to the need of the world from a completely different place than if I hit the ground running.
Yes. So you do this every day?
Every single day.
And you have it as people can join you?
Yes, it's on Facebook Live. It's just on the Spiritual Leader page, and it's also on YouTube. I can give our director that information so it can pop up in a moment. And it is left up. So let's say, for example, 6 a.m. Pacific time is not a good time for you in your time zone, or if you're not an early riser, you can watch it at any time of the day. So we're watching people say, oh yeah, I'm going to watch this at 4 p.m. because that works for me. And
Right.
we've made a little ritual of lighting a candle and to help focus the attention before we start the contemplation. And now I'm leaving the candles burning all day because it has the effect that when I see it, it's
Yes.
like an anchor back to that consciousness. So it has a memory aid, and it's very beautiful. It harkens back to my Catholic upbringing. The lighting of a candle is a symbol of a blessing. And so we're lighting candles and sitting together in prayer, just reading a little bit. And today's reading, I must say, was very poignant for these troubled times. And it was about, sometimes in our metaphysics and our talk about principle, it can seem a little cold. And how do we have that sort of personal chat with the divine, that some people miss from their religions of origin? And I've got it right here. It's just this charming little sentence I want to share with you. What's today? The 6th. There we go. Don't be afraid to talk to the divine, he says. Always remember that the divine speaks in a type of language, and there'll be nothing about it, the way the divine speaks, that will criticize you or make you feel bad. So he says, try this. Sit in complete repose, and that's what we do every morning, and then tell the divine just how wonderful it is. And I've never thought of that as an approach. And it helps adjust that idea of don't bring the problem into the prayer in
Right.
metaphysics, right? And so I thought, this is an angle I can work with. Tell the divine how wonderful it is. Of course, the benefit of the doubt is all of our viewers know that the divine is located within. And it set me on a task looking for examples of that in our metaphysical literature traditions. And I found this beautiful meditation from Ernest Holmes where he's addressing the divine within. And perhaps in a moment I can read it to share it with
Yeah.
our listeners.
Yes, that would be great. Yeah, that's beautiful. Because that does get you into a mindset of, breathing into what love is, breathing into what intelligence is, infinite intelligence, what light is, the beautiful order, the order in life and in creation, and the magnificence. And when you do that, you generate a sense of wonder, and you connect, you bring yourself to that space. And we know that that's the first step of prayer. I mean, we relax and we center, but then we begin to align and
Mm.
generate with what is beautiful, what is holy, what is whole, what is intelligence.
And it's intimate
Yeah.
and near and close. And that's what I love about it so much, is bringing the warmth. And I get that when I'm troubled, it's difficult for me to make that connection. And so thank God, maybe when I'm troubled, you're not, and you can do it on my behalf. And so for the community in Ukraine, oh my goodness, I take it very seriously. Let me put my complaints aside. Let me stop with what it is I need, and let me sit and find that intimate connection, because maybe they can. I mean, on some of our calls, they can't even turn the light on because it's nighttime in Ukraine. So, for obvious reasons, to avoid being destroyed. So it's like, can I carry the responsibility of attaining that space in mind and heart while they are doing what they need to do to be alive?
Yes. And I've heard a lot of that lately, actually. I've heard a lot of people talking about friendships and family connections, and what a difference it makes to have people in their lives that are not going through the same things at the same time. So that you have someone to be there for you. You have someone that has a different situation or perspective, and you know that they are holding space with you. You know that they're on the other end of the phone, or they're holding vigil. And I think people are really tuning into the comfort that that brings, the support, the strength that that brings in times of trouble. I've just seen a lot on that, and heard a lot of people share um, about how meaningful it is to them
Yeah.
that they can count on each other. At
Yeah.
times when you don't know what you can count on, to know that you can count on the love and the support within another being,
Yes,
it really does strengthen us, right? It's really
absolutely.
strengthen us.
I often ask, have you ever sat down next to somebody who's all prayed up? And you can feel it, you know. And so it's by osmosis, by the fact that we are communal beings and we feel each other. My grandmother was like that for me. You know, I could take anything to her and she would put down what she was struggling with, and she would turn the bright sunlight of her gaze to me, and it would be healing just to have that. So that, for example, I might be stressed about something at work, but if you called me and said, look, I'm having a hard time with X, Y, and Z, now I know I can put my work down. It's probably easier for me to tune into that feeling of oneness on your behalf, and likewise for you to tune in it for my well-being. So the communal aspect, and this is why it's so important for us to show up in the world for each other. You know, no such thing as it's their consciousness, they made this, no, we are in this together. And when we use that thing that is naturally in us, love, that we didn't create, we don't even deserve it, it's just there. When we use it, it does miraculous things. It goes places that we physically cannot go, and it changes minds and uplifts spirits.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful way to think about prayer, because I think for a lot of people, you know, when you get into the details of what do you do when you pray, or what happens when you pray, it can seem elusive
Yes.
often. And when you talk about your grandmother, or when you think of someone that you can bring a trouble to and just lean into them, and you know they see all of your strength, they know for you what you might not be able to know for yourself. You
Right.
know, they burst right through all of the problems and the circumstances, and they are a source of nourishment, and they lift you up from there. It really does something. It does something within us. And that's what we're talking about when we're
Right.
talking about holding vigil and holding space.
Right, because you and I, we might, if we're dealing with something, we might be activated by urgency, or we may be even afraid during a moment. And there's such a thing as healthy fear in the moment of danger. And in that moment, somebody who doesn't know us might think, well, they've departed from everything metaphysical. But somebody who knows the truth about us will continue to know the truth about us, while we have a temporary departure from our equanimity. Is that word? I can never say that word. Our calm mind.
Yes.
Yeah. So to the privilege and beauty of knowing about someone else, that their wholeness while they go through their messiness is magnificence.
Yes, that it really makes a difference. It really has an impact. It's really a rock for us when we can count on that within each other. And this is how we do this collectively. And it's also, it's so important to have a witness in your life, to have people in community be aware and see you. That sometimes just creates a healing in and of itself, to know that you're not alone, and to know that you're seen, to know that you're cared for, you're important.
Yes, that you're seen even in your messiness, that you're important even in your brokenness, that you're included even in your wrongness, that you are, as you are, still part of the human family, and for somebody else to be able to witness the truth of you and embrace you. Oh my goodness. I can think of dozens of examples within my spiritual community when I wasn't my best self, but somebody else knew the truth about me. And without it, I don't know that I would have, well, I don't think I'm being dramatic. I don't know if I would have survived.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I have people that it's just the way they see me and the way they know me. They can say very little, but they can just witness me in a way that strengthens me. They acknowledge me, and somehow that helps the stress or drama or whatever it is take a back seat, and the strength and the courage and the light to take the front seat,
Yeah.
just because of the way they really see my humanity, my divinity, the all of me, and give word to it.
Yeah, and we see this on the Ukraine call, like the practitioners that we have in Kiev who don't speak English very well, and we're doing these meditations about knowing the spiritual truth about them, declaring peace, and at the tears, and one of them, unmuted her mic and in her best English said, "I love you," and it was so moving to realize that which seems like the least of what we could do is so important and valuable to be received by somebody who is struggling.
That's right. That's right. And I think we can do that in our own lives. Just take a moment to reflect on when someone supported you, whether it was a phone call or words or prayers, whatever it was, but they witnessed you, they heard you, they saw you, they supported you, and you moved through something that you otherwise don't know if you would have been able to move through.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. This is a beautiful personal practice. We can do it for each other. I have a little secret book. I call it my secret black book. And I carry it around with me. It's right on the shelf over there. And I write, if I just see somebody in the world, I just write their name down in the book and on a blank page, and I write the name down. And then late at night, I go back and I hand write a prayer for that person. I don't ask permission. I don't tell them what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm having a spiritual love affair with them. And over time, I'll meet them again in the street, and I feel like I've got this intimate connection. It's like, I know something that you don't know. I know that I'm in love with you, and I know all sorts of amazing things with you. Now, I don't tell people about this little black book, except I've just told the whole world.
I hope I'm in that book.
Well, that's what happens. People say, "Can I get in your little black book?" And I say, "No, it's not like that." And of course,
You
as
have
soon
to
as someone says
arrive
that,
there. Arrive there by
it's a
spirit.
beautiful practice.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. Well, and I think that this is a testament to the power of mind connection and heart connection. Because if you think about it, think about other difficult times or difficult conversations. When you have relationships or collective experiences where people discredit your experience,
Mhm.
discredit your struggle, discredit the conditions
Yes.
that might be causing suffering, it only adds to the pain body. It only increases the difficulty or deflates the energy. And so when we're talking about prayer and we're talking about the consciousness of our impact, we're talking about the opposite of that. It's like, how can we, by being a witness, how can we, by communing with others, really lift the energy, lift the support, be there in a way that, if we all really are one body, then it's like one hand of this body is in Ukraine and one hand of this body is right where we are right now. And when we just consciously link them, we're putting, the peace that may be in immediate trauma, immediate suffering, immediate discord, immediate, all of the intensity that's going on with the space where it's like, okay, there is no attack going on. There is no suffering going on in the same way. And now I'm bringing those pieces together. I'm linking them to strengthen them, to remind one hand that the other hand is here. And that impact is felt. This is just so amazing that you have this opportunity for people to join in this prayer group. So it is at noon Pacific time.
Yes. And we have the link that can be broadcast over here. And the commitment was to do it for all of March, and it was so popular, it's continued now. And then the daily prayer that I'm doing is going on all year. We have a commitment to stay going all year for whatever purpose a person wishes to participate with.
Good. So the meeting ID is 9952195855, And the password is We Are CSL. And so if you want to join at noon Pacific time for these Ukraine prayer meetings, join us and be a part of that energy, or do it at noon wherever you are. Just pause at noon, set a little reminder or alarm on your phone, and just take a deep breath and connect with all your strength and your light and hold those hands. Just think of everyone you know and just think of that amazing and abundant link from hand to hand all throughout the world. Thank you for this conscious conversation today. We've got a little yes, do it from your pup. We'll make sure that this information is also on social media so you can connect. And I just really want to do a shout out to Reverend Robert Brzezinski. He is of the New Thought Media Network, and that is how we are coming to you live today. So if you have been with AGNT Speaks for quite some time, you may be used to hopping into the Zoom room. And now, rather than hopping into the Zoom room, you can hop onto YouTube, you can hop onto Facebook, you can go to many of these sites and join us for our AGNT broadcast. So thank you, everyone, for being here for this conscious conversation. And thank you to the New Thought Media Network for hosting this conscious conversation.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure to be here.
Namaste.
Something great is happening. Love has taken hold and it won't let go of us now.
Something here is calling us forward, upward motion with drops in one ocean. Roll on.
Will you rise up?